Now, heading on into a second string where we talk all things tech, we're going to kick it off with a little AR. Google, they are out in these AR streets ready to start testing in the quote unquote real world. At their conference this year, they made, I guess, announcement about their augmented reality devices. And they are now in the phase where they are ready to test their prototype out in the real world starting next month. So, because of the possible ramifications of what this device could do to unsuspecting people, they are having a small scale testing, and it's only going to be a select few Google employees and other special testers who will have access to this and who will be able to test this out in the wild, so to speak. And Google says that they are doing it this way because it's only so much you can do, so only so much testing you can do in a lab environment, which is very much true, especially when this whole thing is meant to make your daily life a little bit easier as you are out in the public. So with that being said, the small scale testing, the small group of people that they're using have undergone quote device protocol privacy and safety training. Google doesn't say where this testing is going to be had. It beyond what it says, select areas in the US. So they will be doing testing in the United States. My guess is they're in Silicon Valley, probably out San Francisco, Cupertino, San Jose, that area would be my guess. But listen to this. So they're doing this real world testing. They're taking these glasses out for a test run. But the following places will be excluded from testing: schools, government buildings, healthcare locations, places of worship, social service locations, areas meant for children, example, schools and playgrounds, emergency response locations, rallies or protests, and other similar places. So one might say, what's left? Where else can they possibly go? I'm assuming they scatter out some locations. But they said this prototype will look like normal glasses with an in-lens display. It will have microphones and cameras, even though they won't be used for capturing and storing anything, meaning the microphone and the cameras. But they're hoping, from what it seems like to me, the best usage is if you're out going somewhere and you're trying to get directions. You will have the little in-lens showing you where to turn, where to go, or a voice saying, turn left here, turn right here, that type of thing. But it does indicate there will be an LED that is saying that an image is being saved for analysis or debugging or whatever the case may be. But if someone by them sees that, hey, you're recording me, they can ask the tester to delete the image and the data, and it will be removed.
Well,
So
what they don't want is Google Glass, because Google Glass, that was the issue. If you remember back in the day when Google Glass came out, uh, people were creeped out by people walking around with these cameras and these recorders on their face, and all of the privacy advocates pushed back, which maybe partially maybe had a significant reason as to why Google Glass ultimately fizzled out. So why while Google is trying part two of this, they made sure to put out all of these things as to where you can't use them, what they will be recording and what they will be able to keep, and all of these other things, in my opinion, solely to avoid the Google Glass catastrophe that led to the demise of the product. So what they're trying to do is, instead of
they're getting
pushing
ahead of
this,
it.
yeah, they're trying to get way ahead of it. So much so, like you said, well, if I can't use it at school, if I can't use it at my job, if I can't use it emergency response, if I can't use it with my kids, if I can't use it where else can I use it? We'll have to see. But again, I think all of that is Google's like, yeah, we've learned. we've learned our lesson. And this is what we're trying to do to mitigate it going forward. So it's sad. Well, not sad. It's preemptive, not to make a dope product. It's almost like they're preemptive, like to just cover their butts
Yeah.
if and
Definitely
when.
CYA.
Yeah, definitely if something goes wrong, which I don't know. I'm not a developer. I'm not a product maker. I'm not a creator like that. But you create a product to make people's lives better. You don't create a product to say, all right, if you use it this way, don't blame us because we told you.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's one of the things where they're saying that they can't really, recreate the environments that they will see in a lab. Absolutely. But you're narrowing your scope so much because of privacy issues, because of previous, issues with another device. And I completely get it. My question would be, so how much is this going to help you in the overall development? Maybe they've identified situations that can be, they're specifically for one thing, but can be translated for something else. So say if you're able to, one of the examples I give is looking at a menu. So maybe if you're able to look at a menu in a restaurant, whether it be on paper, whether it be, on a banner, maybe that's a use case that says maybe if you're in the hospital and you're looking at labs or you're looking at the board, those are the same type things. That would be my presumption on the testing and development side, is figuring out what are non controversial use cases that can have potentially
let
additional
me
usage down the
let me
line.
let me help you out. There's no such thing as a non-controversial issue because anytime anybody feels like they are being watched, they're being recorded, they're being under surveillance, people are going to push back, rightfully so. But like you mentioned, that constrains the possibilities of the product so much to where it becomes useless.
Yeah.
Because if you've got to go through all these checklists before you put the daggone things on your face, then what's the point? Especially if they're going to cost five, six, seven, eight, $900. Because I'm assuming they're not going to be, the Snapchat glasses that's like
Yeah.
60 or $70.
Right. No,
These
obviously you
Google.
can see
Yeah.
in the article that we are reading from 9 to 5 Google, the image that they put out is basically previous prototypes. So you don't know if the final is going to look something that is on this image or if it's going to be something completely different. So they're giving you kind of like the different iterations. So you don't know exactly what they're going to look like. But honestly, looking at the images, they look like, my glasses,
consumer
black frame. Yeah.
consumer friendly glasses
Yeah.
that you won't be able to use if you walk outside your house.
Yeah. So, and I don't know. Yeah. I don't know how they're going to make this work, because if you put them on, it immediately starts capturing. When I was mentioning non-controversial, I'm meaning if you're looking at a menu, then there's no privacy concerns looking at a menu that's publicly available. Whereas if you're looking at a piece of paper that has like your medical history or your medical results on it, but at the same time, even if that's the case, if you have the glasses on when you walk into the doctor's office, it is going to capture other people that are in there. They may be filling out. I mean, it's a lot of things that these things can capture. So, again, I'm interested to see what they test and where they test and how, using this limited scope, this is actually going to yield them any useful information. So I doubt we'll see what the results are. I doubt we'll get anything useful out of this other than just the knowledge that they're going to be, a half a dozen people, a few dozen people out there, with these glasses on. And I'm sure they'll have something specifically on them to highlight them so that people know that they are a thing. Otherwise, how would someone know to say, hey, delete that footage if they don't know you're actually doing something? So, yeah, I don't know what the overall takeaway from this is with this limited scope. And we probably never will know because they're not going to tell us.
And it ain't coming out because you know how Google is. They'll start something quick and hot review.
All right. Heading over to the next thing. If you are a Patreon supporter, you know that this particular thing may be of very much interest to me as I have a couple of things coming up next month. Alaska Airlines will let flyers use a digital baggage tag. So, you know, when you go to the airport, you check in, you go and take your bag, you weigh your bag, they print out this long piece of paper,
For check
stick it on,
luggage,
yeah,
if
for
you're
check
checking in.
luggage.
All
Yeah.
right.
And seal it up, put it on the conveyor belt, give you the other piece of it with the baggage claim number thing on it, and you're on your way. Well, Alaska Airlines are rolling out electronic bag tags. So they will be small programmable devices that have quote e-paper displays, and they are set to replace the paper tags. This is fairly new. They are slowly rolling this out. It's starting at the San Jose Airport in California. The airline is going to give out 2,500 of the tags for free to their frequent flyer members late this year. And other people will be able to purchase it later. But what this does is, you know, when you're at home, before you get to the airport, you go ahead and check in. You can't get your baggage tag until you get to the airport. Well, with this device, you will be able to get your electronic tag when you check in onto the little tag. It looks like a regular, you know, what you would write your name on if you lost your luggage, that type of thing. So this particular little device, it's currently being used at some airlines. The only one of these that I recognize is Lufthansa. But bag tag is what the manufacturer is called. And the good thing is it doesn't have to be charged. Of course, it doesn't need any paper. And you, as the consumer, can, you know, use NFC. Use NFC. You can hold your iPhone or Android, whatever you use, next to the tag and transmit the information straight to the bag tag. Of course, this will help save the planet because it's less paper. It'll give people the ability to literally just drop off your bag. Because they say bag drop off, but you can only do the drop off if you're checking luggage after you get the plastic thing. I mean, the sticky, hooky thing that goes on your luggage. So I think this is pretty cool. I definitely think this is going along the road I hope, because I hate having to stand in line after I've already done my checking in. I have my boarding pass, all that stuff. That means I still have to get in line to drop off my bag. So I'm all for it.
I'm curious as to why no major U.S. airlines are using this. In the story, they mentioned all these other airlines: Alaska Air, of course, Air Dolomiti, Austrian, China Southern, Lufthansa,
Lufthansa is a
Lu-
German airline. That's the only one I
Lufthansa,
recognize, and that's a pretty big one.
yeah, and Swiss. I'm curious. No Delta, no Southwest, no U.S. American Air. You know, I'm curious. Is there something? Is it some sort of regulation? Uh, is there some restriction that is stopping? Because it's the reason why I say that, because it seems pretty practical, seems pretty common sense, especially now we're moving into more of um, contactless everything from menus to travel. You would think this is make common sense for you to be able to have a tag that you can change depending on where you're flying when you're checking your luggage. Seems pretty practical, but there's got to be a reason as to why major U.S. airlines are not using these.
Or as big as Delta is, maybe they're coming up with their own version. I don't know. I don't know how much these things cost, but based on what Alaska Airlines is saying, they're giving them away to certain members, and then other people can buy them. So I don't know. That's a very interesting question. Or maybe it is just so new. Maybe these larger airlines want to see how it works on someone else's stuff before they go all in. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah,
But
that would make sense if that's how they did everything, and American companies don't do everything like that. So I'm curious as to what the difference is. I may do a little bit more research after the show.
yeah. But yeah, I'm here for it. I am down for the battery less electronic bag tag. Here for it.